crazy result. We did our predictions. I actually believe none of us predicted Arsenal to go through. I think even I remember Eric saying, "Oh, we should count down 3, 2, 1, all say Madrid." Like we were joking on Arsenal's name. I can't even lie. So, you know, apologies, apologies. I was not familiar with your game, but you guys actually watched this full game live, so I'll jump to you guys. What do you guys think? Any first impressions of this game? Obviously, crazy stuff happened. What do you guys think?
hmm Yeah, man. I mean, it was really disappointing to see Real Madrid play like that, bro. They were not it. They were not having good chances, and they were just getting torn apart by Arsenal. It just felt like Arsenal. It was easy for them. It felt like they were playing against like Crystal Palace or something, man. Uh, it did not seem like a team with Vinny, with Rodrigo, Bellingham, and Mbappe. Like you didn't see performances from anyone on that team that really stood out, other than Courtois. He was the only one who was like putting in work, and it's a shock that this game was not like 5 or 6-0. Like it was crazy. So I think I also got to give credit to Arsenal in that they played incredibly well. Declan Rice scoring two of maybe the best free kicks I've seen in maybe forever in my paying attention to soccer and watching it. I mean, they literally couldn't be better. They literally, his second free kick especially was like literally top right corner bins, like could not be further in that corner. Um, so I was very impressed watching them, and it's going to be really tough for Madrid to come back in the second leg. You know, anything is possible. Madrid has defied the odds before, but this one's going to be tough. I think mentally, especially. So, anyways, Arsenal though they deserved that win. It was a really great game to watch, to see them and their play, and it mentally brought me back to the Prem, and just I wish there was more of a title race this season to see what this team could do against Liverpool if things were closer. But it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. Yeah, I mean, Real looked pretty discombobulated. The funny thing is, like, if you look on paper, it's not like the stats will say that it was a lopsided game. But if you were watching it, you could see that Madrid was just out of sync. But if you just look at it, 12 shots to 9, 11 on target to 3, that's crazy. But like possession, 54 to 46, these are all in favor of Arsenal, by the way. So it's just like, it's wild to see just how on point they were. Definitely agree with you that this could have been there could have been more goals scored by Arsenal, but all of the two free kicks that you mentioned, screamers, man, insane, bro. Like it's this is why I love the Champions League, because it's just like every game is huge, every game is exciting, and when you get a game like this where the underdog, and it's interesting to call Arsenal an underdog considering, like you said, how well they've been playing, but this is Madrid. This is my pick to win the entire tournament, right? And I am not going to write them off just yet. I could be wrong, but I feel like we're in for a very exciting second leg. And I think Real can still do it. Um, this is going to be a very tough game to bounce back from, but I think it's well within their ability to do it, and they'll be home, so they'll have the opportunity to do that. So I am curious to see how that will unfold, but I'm not going to write them off just yet. But today, man, you got to really look in the mirror and say you guys got to figure it out, because they got punched in the mouth today, and it showed. And I like I said, very lopsided. And I even expected them towards the end to at least score something. I was like, I am not a Real fan by any means, but I wanted to see them fight back a little bit, and to see that it just ended in 3-0, like that being the final score, very, very concerning. But yeah, three beautiful goals, no complaints on that part. Very entertaining game, I will say.
It's fascinating seeing Arsenal be this good, and I wouldn't even say they're full strength. Like no Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
Saka only came back like a week and a half ago. When we recorded our predictions, he was still injured, and he only I think made his first appearance right after we recorded that. So now our predictions look crazy. I actually put a comment on that video saying, we didn't know we didn't know Saka would be back by this time.
Who
For this
knows how
game.
long he'll last, though, bro? He was limping off the field again.
The classic Saka limp, bro. The
Yeah.
goated Saka limp. No Havertz either. I know people aren't that excited about Havertz in general, but they're forced to play a central midfielder and Marino up top. It is something that you have to think about. Kivior, who isn't the best center back, playing in there, locking up Mbappe, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Kivior go out the door this summer for Arsenal. So this really Miles Lewis Skelly, an 18-year-old playing left back with an assist, locking up Rodrigo, like. Fair play to them. I always thought they'd be a better cup team than league team because of their set piece dark arts they have. They love showing that set piece coach. They fiend for that dude. But this was beyond my expectations for sure. And like you said, Eric, it would take some magic. It would take probably one of the greatest Champions League nights we've seen in history, or at least in recent history, for Madrid to come back from this. Because Arsenal don't really concede more than 2 goals often. Like I can't remember them really like taking large defeats recently. They've become pretty solid defensively, especially in the Prem. They're like one of the best defensive teams, if not the best defensive team in the Prem. So for Madrid to score 3 on them and to also stop Arsenal from scoring, it's looking spooky, and it's also looking really spooky for Carlo Ancelotti, bro. I'm not gonna lie. This guy, with the amount of talent this team has, this has to be one of the poorest coaching performances I've seen. Not just this game, like this whole season. Obviously, they're technically still up for trouble. We're not expecting them to get through this, but I still say Barcelona is the better team. But with this amount of talent, like this team should be so much better than they are. They're getting through purely off the name value of these players. But Vinny, fraud watch. Mbappe, fraud watch. Rodrigo, you've been lucky. People don't really talk about you. They don't praise you enough. Also, low key, you got to get the smoke too, bro. You're looking sus. You're looking like a fraud right now. Like Jude, I don't want anyone to tell me Jude's better than Pedri, bro. Don't tell me Jude's better than Pedri again. I don't want to hear. He has to prove that. I know they won the Champions League last year, whatever. But you're getting ran through. Like pause, but really no pause. Like you're really getting ran through right now. Like also starting Modric. I know they have a lot of injuries. Like it's not looking good for them. They have Alaba starting at left back, Valverde starting at right back. They have to start a damn near 40-year-old in midfield and Modric. This is not the team to do that against, though. You have younger legs you can bring in, like Brahim Diaz or like Arda Güler or something. Like you shouldn't be doing this against Arsenal, which is probably the most athletic team in the Prem. Like if they're anything, Newcastle are pretty athletic too, but Arsenal have gone way further in the athlete direction than technical player direction recently. They have a lot of big, strong, fast dudes who will just run through you just with pure athleticism. This was not the game for Modric. I don't know. Ancelotti, if he's there through the summer, I will be shocked. I will honestly be shocked. It was not a good performance at all. And if they pull it back in the second leg, then Arteta, you're on watch next, bro. This summer, if you throw away this lead, I think I saw a quote. I don't know if this is actually true or not. I think he said something like, with the lead they're going to the Bernabeu with, like they'll park a plane if they need to get through that game. So fair play. He knows the mission. But yeah, sensational performance. Fair play, Arsenal. Declan Rice. I think I said this to Alexi earlier, but this is like a performance. If they go on, even if they don't end up winning the whole thing, but like if he goes on to stay with Arsenal for years and become a really big player in their history, this is the type of performance that fans will remember as like, this is what made you a club legend. Like that's actually putting the team on your back. Even though it was a good performance in general from the team, like scoring 2 individual goals like that, that's something that fans will remember forever. So fair play. You're starting to justify that 100 million price tag, and that's hard to do. But that's like that kind of performance for me. So fair play. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add on this game though.
No, yeah, I mean, just to reiterate, those free kicks, magical. That's I'm sure they're going to be nominated for the Puskas Award this year or something, because you don't see something like that often, especially in a game with those stakes and against a team like Real Madrid. So, just Declan Rice, round of applause to you.
Fair play, man. Although Cole Palmer scored a crazy free kick early this season, but you know, I think I was against like Wolves or something. So it's not that crazy.
Was that in the Champions League?
Yeah, that's not important. It was from further away, I think. Anyway, we'll move on. But Courtois, yeah, like you said, Courtois crazy saves from what I've seen. Like he was going crazy. But I do want to mention though, end of the game, Kamavinga with a very unnecessary second yellow.
Yeah.
To go with the red. I think he just lost his head, just kicked away the ball, and going into the next leg without him, especially already being down midfielders, so they're probably gonna have to start Modric again. I don't know. It's
Really
even
stupid. Really
spookier. Yeah,
stupid.
like that's
Like,
you got to get it together.
like with the stakes too. I mean, knowing you're already down 3-0, you're not coming back. You're not scoring a goal that late in the game with how they're playing. I mean, you got to be smarter. You have to be.
Like mentally, you have to like say, okay, we're putting everything into the second leg. Let's just get through, see out the rest of the game. Don't concede again, and we put everything into the second leg. But you're not going to be there, buddy. Which is a shame to say. I actually really like Kamavinga, but
Yeah.
it's a shame. But if they pull this out, like we said, it'll be crazy. But if there's nothing else on this game, we can move on to the other game from today, the other quarterfinal matchup, which was Inter Milan. That's not Italian accent at all, but versus Bayern Munich. End-to-end action, great game. We won't spend too much time on this one because I know I'm the only one who watched this game, but this game was really, really fun, really fascinating. Inter, I've been saying it since the beginning. Barcelona are my pick to win, but Inter are a sneakily good team, especially for cup competitions, knockout football. The way they play, you would think Bayern dominated this game, and technically, yeah, on the stats, more possession, more shots on target, whatever. But they're just playing into Inter's hands. This is what Inter want to do, and the goals were great. Especially the first one. The second one was like a little just hit him on the break, scrappy kind of one. But the first goal was Marcus Thuram. He's like the ball gets played into him from the left. He does a little touch back heel, very soft touch to Lautaro Martinez, just coming in from behind, and he hits it like Travella. First time into it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. Like those two, their chemistry is crazy. I don't know how Inter got Thuram on a free. Like I would have loved a striker like that at Chelsea. And I'm sure you would have loved a striker like that at Man U. But I don't think it's rare. I feel like in 2025 to see a team starting two strikers, like having like a striker partnership. I feel like so many teams.
Oh yeah.
That was like more of like a 2000s, early 2010s kind of thing. I feel like so many teams move toward the striker, two wingers, or some other kind of setup like that. So it's actually really fun seeing a striker partnership in 2025 be so fluid. Bayern. Ooh, oh boy, it's still doable to give it to them. It's still doable. 2-1 is not the craziest scoreline, but they were at home. So to lose at home against Inter, who can go and park that bus back in I think the San Siro, their stadium. I don't know. I don't know if Bayern is actually going to get it done. I don't know about that one. Harry Kane, oh brother, I don't know if you guys seen this, but that dude whipped a sitter off the post, bro.
No.
It's a shame. It's honestly a shame.
Hey man, that plays into the larger narrative I've been saying about Harry Kane, man.
Which is
definitely overhyped, and a big portion of that I'm willing to say is because he's the British bloke from Tottenham, British ground. He's gonna help us take it home. Like, nah, he not all that in these moments. He wasn't with Tottenham, and even at Bayern, it hasn't been perfect. And that clearly is the case right now in a game like this with the pressure like this.
for sure. Like those are the moments that make the difference. And I'm sure they're gonna go on to win the Bundesliga, but like a moment like that, people remember, especially if you're known for being a loser. No disrespect. Obviously, he's still a great striker and he has all the goals, whatever. But you're known for not getting the job done in the biggest moments. Having another one on a stage like this, of course, if he goes on, he could bag a hat trick in the second leg, and then everyone's gonna forget. So whatever. Then maybe this is irrelevant in a week. But as of right now, that's not something you should be doing, especially when across the aisle you have a guy like Lautaro Martinez, who is constantly getting dogged on for being this, oh, he doesn't show up in the big moments type striker. But really, over the last like year and a half, 2 years, this dude has been playing lights out. He's been one of the sneakily best strikers in Europe. Won a World Cup, Copa Americas, like Copa Italia's, I'm pretty sure, like Serie A's, whatever, everything. This dude's winning everything. And who's to tell me? I know people aren't going to like it because, like you said, I feel like when you're English, you get a little bias. And you also maybe get more criticism too. But who's to tell me Lautaro Martinez is not a better striker than Harry Kane? I don't think it's clear cut. Yeah, I honestly don't think it's clear cut. You can say one way or
That's a
another.
good debate. That's a good debate.
Something
I
that
think
could be
there could
discussed.
be a good argument there.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's one way or the other, but I think if you're going to say definitively Harry Kane's better, I think that's probably one going on history, but also a little bit of an English bias. So I don't know. That game was also really fascinating. I'll definitely be checking out the second leg. Although I do want to keep an eye on this Madrid Arsenal second leg as well.